Coming up on Tuesday, the Democratic primary will take place to fill the Georgetown City Council seat vacant right now because of the death of Councilman Rudolph Bradley. Three people, Sheldon Butts, Ricky Verdon, and Rev Donald McInnis, will be on the ballot. The winner of that race faces Republican Jonathan Angner in April. We sat down with all three of the candidates who will be on the ballot. Because Reverend McInnis is the only one of the three candidates who has not served previously, we began by asking him to tell us about himself.
62 years old, family married, with children, five, between my wife and I, five children, four grandchildren. I've lived in Georgetown most of my life. I've been back here living since 2004. Pastor of Mount Olive AME Church, pastored there for 2.5 years now, and worked at a father's place. Worked there for 2 years as a career coach. Left and went to another nonprofit where I am presently, Helping Hands of Georgetown, where I serve as the program coordinator for the GC3, which is Georgetown County Career Connections, and also for the Youth Empowerment Program, also known as YEP. I'm passionate about Georgetown. I love Georgetown. I've been several places in my life, visited several places, cities, rural areas. Nothing like Georgetown to me. I just love being here in Georgetown. I find that this is the most comfortable place for me. So I love being here. I love the people. I love the atmosphere. I just love it.
Now, is this your first run for a public office?
It is.
So what in 2021 made you say, hey, I want to do this?
Well, working in the nonprofit world, I saw a lot of need. First of all, when I started with a father's place and seeing the struggles that we have as a career coach with putting fathers in great positions or putting dads in great positions to be fathers. Once they have a sustainable income, I find that they thrive much better. They survive. The family structure strengthens. And coming on with Helping Hands and the program coordinator now for the employment skills training and the YEP program, the Youth Empowerment Program, I'm starting to see that if we start this at a younger age, investing into our youth. So I saw a need, and I'm the type of person, my father was a coach. I'm very competitive. I love sports. And so I saw a need, and I said, well, the best way for me to address the need is to get off of the sideline and actually get into the game. So that with the guidance of the now deceased Rudolph Bradley, giving me some mentoring through the years and some instructions and telling me somewhat of what it involves of being a public servant in the city of Georgetown, I thought it best now to enter the arena of politics.
Mm-hmm. Now, as far as helping young people, helping dads, and things like that, what are some of the things that a city government can do to help in those areas?
Well, sustainable income is the first thing that comes to mind. When we bring industry into Georgetown, first and foremost, we have to think about the future of work and where work is headed and making sure that we have human resources to cover that type of work. We're talking about artificial intelligence and things of that nature. We have a great school out here at Oregon Georgetown Tech that does a great job of training our youth and those who are willing to go to school out there in the advanced manufacturing. So investing into our youth and building sustainable income, not the lower income paying job. When a man goes to work, works 40 hours a week, and comes home and pays bills living in someone else's residence, paying rent. Once he pays rent, once he pays his utility bills, then he's left with minimal money, if any. So what that leads to is what we call predatory lending, when we have to go out and borrow money from people who will charge exorbitant taxes, or I'm sorry, interest on these loans for cars, for money to make it for another day. So if we had those jobs that were paying these individuals, that they can not have to become a part of that system, and that they can come home and be a proud father, don't have to be an absent father because their mother, it's better for them to stay apart than it is for them to get together. So that's some of the things that I want to address. Let's build up our economy, make it a little, have sustainable income when it comes to Georgetown, not just the servant jobs where we are getting these minimal wages.
But how do you suggest council and city government in general do that? Get more of the, high-paying jobs and the lots of job companies in Georgetown.
Well, of course, that's going to take research, because we are going to need to research those companies, to search out those companies that's first of all willing to relocate to this area, then that are willing to listen to what our needs in this area, and letting them know that we will have a base or a working class for them if they're willing to pay the employees the amount of money that will have them sustain their families. So we need training, and I think we're doing a substantial job with Ori Georgetown Tech being right here in the area. We need to recruit companies that are going to pay us the sustainable income, and those companies who are here now, encourage them, have the conversations, bring them to the table, and let them know. One thing that I know from being a career coach is that there are, out of the top 10 reasons that are things that employers want in the state of South Carolina, 6 of them are soft skills. So what is that telling me? It's telling me that people don't want to get up and go to work. If I don't know how to be on time, if I don't know how to be loyal to my employer, if I don't know how to treat people or become a part of a team, that's telling me I'm not happy with what I'm doing. Well, what can help that is if we get a communication line going with employers and employees and find out exactly what the employees want. And I think some of that, and a great deal of that, is being able to be paid what they think is a fair wage or salary for the job that they're doing. So again, that they can provide for their families.
So you talk about wages, the minimum wage going to $15 an hour. Do you think that's something that should happen?
I do. With our employment training program, our skills training, employment skills training, that's our target. $15 an hour is our target. I think that a family working with $15 an hour, the provider coming in, bringing in $15 an hour, working a 40-hour or better work week, will tremendously help with them providing for their family. So yes, I would suggest that we increase our minimum wage to at least $15. Where it stands now is just not enough money to sustain your family.
But what would you say to the people who are going to, that are on we're on Front Street recording this right now, that are on Front Street that say, you go to $15 an hour, I'm going to have to close my doors. I cannot afford $15 an hour. What would you say to those business owners?
I don't see that as being a problem. And maybe I'm wrong. If you can afford to open a business and run a business, you should be able to afford to pay your people to a sustainable income. That's akin to slavery. What you're talking about, paying people less money so that you can survive and that they won't survive. You have to be able to pay your people so that they can have a sustainable income. If you're not paying them what's sustainable, then why even have a business? Is it totally, and my question to them would be, are you totally in it for yourself, or are you trying to build up the community of this city of Georgetown? if we build up the community of Georgetown, I believe that we can afford to pay our people $15 an hour.
Now, one thing that's going to come up, it looks like right now, I mean, it's not set in stone. We don't know what's going to happen with the steel mill. It's sort of sitting there. We know as of December 27th, they have their layoffs. Whoever wins this seat that you're running for, especially if you win again in November for the full 4 years, is going to have to deal with this, it looks like, possibly. What do you think should have to happen to the property if the steel mill does not reopen?
Well, we did a study back a few years ago, and there's a plan in place. And I'm not opposed to that plan if we aren't able to get that steel mill up and running again. We've tried, we've given it a great effort to get that steel mill running. But to open up, and it's a disappointment to open up and then close back down, to bring people hopes up that they will be providing for their family and then for it to close down. So I think that the plan that we spent so much money on, we should look into that plan and see that how we can make that plan become a reality, how we can bring it to fruition.
Now, do you think right now, though, the city should at least be looking at some of these programs that are out there to help clean up these types of plants once they're no longer there? Just in case it does come to that, do you think they should at least be doing the groundwork right now, looking at that?
If I knew the financial situation, if I knew the cost, and I thought that it was affordable right now, yes, I think we should be ahead of the game. Don't know what the cost is. I won't sit here and try to pretend that I know the ins and outs of getting a plan in place and putting that plan into action. But I do think and I believe that we need to be ahead of the game. So if that's a part of being ahead of the game, then we need to find a way to do that.
Now, as a career coach and as somebody who does this for a living, if it's not the steel mill, if that does not come back, what types of things would you like to see on that property that would bring jobs? I mean, what types of jobs you think could we see on that property? That would be very beneficial for Georgetown.
Well, with Georgetown being in the area that it's in, and it's a tourist attraction, being between Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, I would like to see tourist attractions come there. Again, if the tourist attraction could, it's a wonderful spot, beautiful, right off the water. So I would like to see tourist attractions coming there. Again, if those attractions are going to pay our citizens the money that's going to help them to sustain their family, a livable wage.
Let me ask you, you're in a sort of a unique, all the three Democrats who are running, well, actually even the Republican running for this seat, are in a unique situation because you're running to finish Mr. Bradley's term. You won't know till April if you win that seat.
That's right.
But if you want the seat for the full 4 years, you've got to register in March to be on the November ballot.
Right.
So you've got to register before you know if you'll even be on the seat. So I'm assuming you're going to register in March for the November election, no matter what happens in April, I guess. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so you will file for the full 4 years.
In March.
In March, okay.
Yes, I certainly will. I believe that the people of Georgetown have seen my work, and if they haven't, then I will introduce them. I've been getting out into the community, letting people see my face. And so from what I've done in the past 10, 15 years with building a company to help, I had a lawn care company that I employed the unemployable for many years before I went to a father's place. And when I went to a father's place, it rolled right onto me to be the career coach. So again, I was in charge of employing people and working with fathers that were estranged from the family or needed a hand up. So I've been in the community helping for many years now, and people are aware of that. And so through that and just making new relationships. I believe in relationships. I believe in networking. I believe that if I don't work my net is not going to work, so therefore I have no network. But I do have a network throughout the community of Georgetown. I believe that I can go anywhere in Georgetown and I'll be accepted. I can go to any business in Georgetown, I can be accepted. I can go to any housing development in Georgetown, I will be accepted and welcomed. So yes, I'll be filing again in March, believing that the people have seen my body of work and enough so, and I've done enough that they will see my passion for the city of Georgetown. I just love Georgetown.
There's a big push right now to get a lot of dilapidated houses removed. The city has a grant that it's trying, working to get to make that happen. I think they might have some of it already. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that? As far as, is that something we really need to concentrate on right now? Getting rid of unsafe and dilapidated houses?
Certainly. Yes, I think that we should get rid of dilapidated houses that may pose a threat, that aren't being used as a livable property. I think that we need to get rid of it, but I also believe that we should focus when we give these type contracts, that we work right here in Georgetown, that we start to pour money back into our own economy here in Georgetown. And I also believe that when those contracts are given, that we spread the money, that we be diverse in how we spend our money in Georgetown, that it doesn't go to one area, that we spread it out, that we start to see diversity, we start to see equality in the workforce, not just one set of people getting the money, one set of people doing the work. Let's start spreading that thing out so it looks like Georgetown when we see someone on the property, when we have a government contract, a city contract. Let's make those contractors look like Georgetown.
So you think, when possible, the city should use local contractors?
I do.
So what's your thoughts about last, a year and a half ago or so, when they were talking about building the new city hall, mm-hmm. and they chose a Charlotte company over a Georgetown company? Do you think you would have voted that way?
I probably would have, and I'll tell you why. Because from the information that I have, the local companies again did not look like Georgetown. It wasn't diversity, and that's important. That's important. We see the state of our country. We here in these last couple of weeks, we've seen what's going on in our country, and that just can't be. And especially here in Georgetown, again, a place that I love. I think that companies should reflect what Georgetown looks like, and if we don't have that in Georgetown, then we're going to have to look elsewhere for that type of look.
Let me ask you one thing that has come up since you announced that you were running, and that is you do work for Helping Hands, mm-hmm. and the executive director of Helping Hands is, of course, Mayor Brendan Barber, mm-hmm. Which means, I guess, in a way, you work for him. Is this going to be ever a problem? An issue comes up that you have to vote on, but you don't agree with the mayor on the way he feels about it. Mm-hmm. Will you still be able to vote against him, knowing you've got to go to work the next day? And
of course I would.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I believe in, that's with you, with the mayor, anyone, even with my wife. We have to be able to agree to disagree. I have my way of thinking, and the mayor has his way of thinking. I'm certain that there are going to be disagreements. What happens in the city council meetings in the city of Georgetown is one thing. What happens at Helping Hands is something totally different. When I go to work there, I expect to be treated just as if I voted with him if I vote against him. We are both adults. We both know that we aren't going to think the same way all the time. In fact, by me having a working agreement with him, a working relationship with him at this time, I know that we don't agree on everything, but we have a way of working it out, and we don't hold animosity because I may think one way and he may think a different way. I may not like it and walk out with the hair on the back of my neck standing up, but by the time I get to the door or get to my car, I'm all right with it because I understand his position. And then sometimes he'll say, Ron, he'll come in and he'll say, Ron, you're right. I thought about that, and I'm going to go the way that you said go. So yeah, I'll be able to stand my ground. And again, I've been in this town a long time, and anybody that knows me knows that I stand on my own 2 feet. I carry my own weight. My history tells it. Even when my history wasn't so pure, I stood on my own 2 feet. I didn't look to anyone else to grab onto their coattail and be a yes man for anyone. That's just hadn't been a part of my life. And if it has, it's news to me. Somebody needs to tell me about it.
All right, we've got a couple of minutes left. There's 2 other people going to be on the ballot in February for this seat to move to the general election in April. Why should people vote for you?
My passion for Georgetown, my dreams for Georgetown, the things that I'm willing to get up in the morning and work towards the vision for the young people of Georgetown, where we can build something sustainable, where we can build families, where we can build an economy that's going to benefit the entire community. That's what I want for Georgetown. I want things that are going to benefit everyone, not just one section, but for everyone. And there are going to be some sections of town that need attention right now, and we will focus on those areas of town. So I have a good hand on the pulse of Georgetown by working in the areas that I've worked on. So I don't think there's a better person to be in this position right now than Ronald McInnis. I think the best person for this job is Ronald McInnis, and I don't think anybody will work harder than Ronald McInnis when it comes to the citizens of Georgetown.